Hi there, and welcome to another edition of Fantasy Studs. I guess that's what we're calling this thing until we hear otherwise. I give who I think is going to be the top player in our scoring system for the game. Now, granted, I didn't see Brett Favre last week throwing 6 touchdowns. Nobody did. So, screw me in the ass. Okay, first game we got Tennessee at Baltimore. It's going to be a defensive struggle. I think it's going to be a tight game. I look for Baltimore's defense to score late. Start the Baltimore's defense if you got them. Kansas City, Carolina, Jake Delhomme, got to start him if you got him. Detroit, Chicago, Matt Forte. He should be able to run through the defense of the Detroit pretty good. Rudy Johnson is starting, but do you really want to start a running back against the Bears? Nah, didn't think so. Atlanta, Green Bay. If Mr. Rodgers is healthy, then you got to like Greg Jennings to light up that secondary. Colts at Houston. I like the tandem of Reggie Wayne and Peyton Manning to score at least 2 touchdowns each. San Diego, Miami. Got to go with LT until they stop him. LT exploded late last week. He's going to explode against Miami this week. Seattle at the Giants. Barres isn't playing, so Eli's going to have to rely on somebody else. So I think in that game we're going to go with Brandon Jacobs to have a big game. Washington at Philadelphia. Jason Campbell, possibly. But if Westbrook's healthy, Westbrook is going to be your fantasy stud for the game. Tampa Bay at Denver. Jay Cutler, without a doubt, is going to pick apart Denver secondary after last week's showing against the Kansas City Chiefs. Great googly moogly. Buffalo, Arizona. Of course, you know, Kurt Warner's without Bolden, who broke his face. So Larry Fitzgerald's going to get most of the catches. I like Fitzgerald to have a huge game. Cincinnati, Dallas. Pick anybody on Dallas. If you have a Dallas offensive player, start him. Whether it's Creighton, T.O., Witten, Barber, Felix, or Tony Romo, start them. They're going to blow out Cincinnati. New England at San Francisco. This is going to be Randy Moss's breakout game. 2 touchdowns for Randy Moss. Pittsburgh, Jacksonville. Don't like anybody, but this is for our fantasy point system. So I'm going to go with David Gerard throwing 2 touchdown passes. I suppose I can see that happening. I don't personally like any fantasy people in that game, but gotta pick somebody. Now the Monday nighter, Minnesota, New Orleans. You gotta like that running backs in this game, so it's either Reggie Bush or Adrian Peterson. Start either one if you got them. Now, I believe the number 1 point getter this week is going to be Peyton Manning on our point scoring system only, because I think he's going to have no problem throwing for 250 and 3 or 4 touchdowns unless they get a lot of close yards. Then it's going to be Joseph Adai or Dominic Rhodes running them in. So if it's anything from 10 yards out, Peyton Manning will put him in the end zone and they will blow him out. So for now, this has been Fantasy Studs, and come up with a better name. Otherwise, that's what we're keeping it as.